Welcome back to the Weekend Warrior Show Recap Podcast. I'm TyJon Charlie. I'm going to be talking about my shows this last week, just kind of checking in with everyone, trying to be more on the ball of things, even though it's not quite back to weekly yet. But things will be slowing down a little bit show-wise, and hopefully that'll make it a little bit easier to do that. I mean, there's both positives and negatives of that, obviously, but this last weekend I had 4 shows. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I wasn't really planning on having the one on Sunday, but I did pick it up kind of last minute, so that kind of worked out. Thursday I was in Deer Creek at the Deer Creek Legion. I was playing at it's called Honky Tonk Happy Hour, and even though I don't know if that necessarily fits what I do, but I think they were just generally kind of acoustic-ish type performances, judging by the other artists and whatnot. But it was a really nice night. I wasn't sure whether it was going to be inside or outside when I got there, but it was outside. Got there plenty early, which was, a lot less stressful than some of the times where, I'm cutting it close, but got a nice setup. I broke about, I think, 4 out of 6 strings this evening, on that evening, and but at the end of the show I was just like, well, I'll just change the other 2 and I got it's all restrung. But I just kind of changed them as it happened. But it was a small crowd. I think there was a lot of rain during the day, and I think generally they have been doing them outside, judging by what they were saying when I got there. And so, maybe that detoured a few people, but the people that were there, it was a little bit of an older crowd, and it seemed like they really appreciated what I was doing, and felt really good overall. I don't know, I had been a little worn out the week before, so I didn't hit practice. I still practiced a lot, but it was like, kind of more what I just wanted to work on. I knew all the other stuff would be pretty tight from the last 3 weeks or so, and I was pretty burnt down and burnt down, whatever. And so I don't know if that had something to do with it, but I really had a good time. It was like a fun. Sometimes I wonder if I over practice, and then you get so caught up on the little mistakes. It might be easier to let go to little mistakes if you're not so dialed in, but you want to take the show. I don't know. It's tough to say, but it was just a good night. There was probably anywhere from 5 to 12 people. I was back patio. Nice night. Got a little cool, which was great for me. And just a good night. And then Friday morning, I was over at Eclipse, so I had a little studio session, which, pretty much just a half hour. I just had to tighten a couple of last things up on my song Wings. That one's all set. So we're looking probably a December-ish release on that one. I will say I have went ahead and got everything set up for the release on Halloween. So October 31st, I'll have a new single out. So that's what you'll be seeing a lot of me pushing. I'm pretty excited about it. Weird one. This will be kind of the more broken down style of song. Not so big studio. And I played all the instruments myself, which was very cool. I got behind a kit at one point, which drum kit, which is pretty cool for me. I've been practicing a lot in my little set back there, and I've never been quite ballsy enough to give it a shot. Now, I'm not saying what I did was very hard or complicated, but just to be there and do it was different for me. And I had the song without drums for a while, so it's pretty easy to practice and get everything kind of where it needed to be. A little bit different recording process than I'm used to. I played a lot of cello on this song. There's big string parts. I played the cello as a bass at the second verse. And just a different sound for me, which is kind of nice. So hopefully it's refreshing. It sounds a little bit different than some of the other stuff that I've been doing. And then it'll be more like the Magic song, a little bit bigger than Will Magic Find Me, my first single released as TyJon Charlie. But it's a little bit bigger sound than that, but nothing crazy. And it was all kind of organic instruments and just, so that one's out October 31st. But what started me down that path, Wings will be probably a December release, and that is like a big studio track. It's a big sounding, lots of stuff going on. I played most of the instruments on that. However, I did not play drums, and I wrote the bass part, but I didn't play the bass part. I had Eric do it. Just because he's so good at I had kind of, by the time I got in the studio with the bass part I had written and recorded, I didn't really remember it. So I was just, he was kind of guiding me through what I would have been doing. And I was just like, save so much time if you just did it, probably, because he's just, he's got a great ear and just a great musician all around. So I had him play bass, and he did all the drum stuff for it as well. But I played a lot of electric guitar on this one, which was pretty cool for me. I think it has like a big sound, a little bit of slide guitar, which is unusual. I guess I did that a lot on Ryan Edward Wolf's new album. There were a couple songs where I did a little bit of slide stuff, but for Wings, kind of one of the main hooks is this kind of slide electric guitar, and then I have a pretty intricate lead part for I guess you'd call it the chorus. Not a traditional form song, so it doesn't really have like verse, chorus, bridge, chorus twice, or whatever. A bunch of those simple formulas. It has a different kind of structure than a lot of those songs, different kind of hook than a lot of those songs. So in some ways I would say it's very like almost poppy, but without that actual like catchy chorus, which it does come back to the same line a lot, but it's not as chorus centric, I guess, as a lot of regular songs that you would expect. But anyway, so very excited about those. I do think that the Premonition Man, the one that will be out on Halloween, does have a little bit dark, eerie, kind of Halloween-esque feel. So I thought that would be cool. Wolf actually mentioned you could try that, and we're going to try to shoot a music video. He did the album art, which turned out looking pretty cool for, people who we're just winging it ultimately. But he's always been pretty good with the visual part of stuff. So he came up with some cool ideas. I mean, I had kind of a general idea going in, and he took it to a whole different level. And the same thing for the music video we're gonna shoot. It's like the premise, pretty much my kind of initial input, but then like he's got a whole thing in his head, so I'm pretty excited about shooting that. So we're gonna try to get that shot before Halloween. And that one will be a little creepy and weird, and I think it fits the vibe of the song that will be out on Halloween. And then I do think that the Wings song has a little bit more of a holiday, Christmassy kind of vibe. When I was recording Digital Soul with Jeff, one of the things he mentioned that I kind of like is I would describe your genre as like trippy or psychedelic Christmas. And I thought that was a cool way to, because I do like shimmery, shiny things in my mixes. But anyhow, so I think that it'll be fitting. And I got some other kind of stuff on the back burner that I'm going to be working on while that stuff's getting ready to release. So, that'll be what you're in store for. And then I'll have hopefully a live thing coming out at some point. I got the idea for it, but I don't really have the action or it in the books or anything like that as far as booking goes in the studio. But so that was the Friday morning. So I pretty much popped over there at 11:30, got that song done. So that's all set. And then I played at the Top Hat in Girard. Kind of a longer drive, just under a couple hours. It wasn't super busy, but it was a weird night ultimately. I think, I mean, it wasn't there was like it's coming back to me a little bit while I'm thinking about it. There was a 40th class reunion, so it was weird thinking, because it was like, okay, I'm gonna try to kind of placate to these people. I'm gonna try to give them stuff they would want to hear. So I'm thinking like, okay, 80 stuff is about where we'd be with that. 83 would be and you think around that time would be I think a lot of people's strongest ties to the music that they love the nostalgia of that kind of high school, middle school, high school, college. I think those are the main decades. I mean, I'm always on the hunt for new music, but you know, it's a different type of listening. I think because with the stuff, you know, in your prime music listening years, I think you get a little bit nostalgic and a warm feeling. So when you're looking for something new, you're not going to get that. You might through like tones maybe, but not necessarily the same. And so yeah, I tried to. I thought, okay, well, I'll kind of play to this crowd specifically. I was throwing some '80s stuff in. Was just feeling a little sloppy. Everything kind of felt a little sloppy that night. And after I did a couple, and then I did like a country song. I had a couple people come up and oh, we really like that country song. So I was like, okay, well, I'll kind of dive down that rabbit hole of the country songs I can do. And but I think I kind of ultimately noticed that at least at the beginning, the first couple hours of the show, the class reunion was they wanted me to be more like background music, and I caught that vibe kind of. I think in my brain, I don't think that it was anything that needed to be said or anything, but the way I read the crowd was, oh, this isn't about, you know, people getting drunk and like singing along to their favorite songs from the 80s. This is, you know, about catching up with their friends and stuff. So I kind of took a back seat for a little while. I don't know. It's just something about that room. I don't know if it was the room or me. I felt pretty good the night before. So, I mean, obviously he was outside the night before, so that makes a big difference. I mean, it's easier to sound good outside. So I don't know, I just couldn't quite feel super comfortable. And I mean, I watched the tape back. It was decent, wasn't terrible. I just know I've sounded better, and sometimes I just don't understand what I'm doing different. Is it in my head? There's nobody there to tell you, so you just are guessing. But anyway, so you know, towards the last hour, had a couple people that were there when I was like setting up that had seen me the last time I played there. They came back. They were there while I was setting up, and they were like, I don't know if we're gonna make it. And so then they showed up at about an hour before my set was over, and they were pretty lit at that point, and you know, having a good time singing along, and that really kind of built me up quite a bit, and I felt really solid for the ending part of that set. So the next night was at Dr. McKay's in Bloomington, which was nice to be in a Bloomington show. I haven't done a weekend Bloomington show in a while, so it's nice to have a little spot. We used to play there all the time when I was playing with Blair and Lowe. You know, probably once a month there for a while, and then, you know, once every few months, back and forth between those. And so I haven't really been over there, but I saw they were doing shows again, so I hit them up, and I think I did pretty much the same thing last year. I had about one show there in the whole year, but because they have like different people running it, and it seems like they're maybe trying a little bit more on the live music, so maybe I'll get another date at some point. But it was unique night. I mean, I remember from back when we used to play, it was a tough room to sound good at. I mean, we'd have our nights where we were like, felt pretty good, or like one of us, you know, Blair would feel really good, or I'd feel really good, or Lowe would feel really good. But so it's just one of those rooms that's really loud. This was the first time I tried my in-ear, the way I've been doing it, with just the one in, and I have the JBL stack on this side, so I can kind of hear my guitar and my vocal there, but I can hear my vocal even better here in my left ear. Sometimes, you know, it's vice versa. But so, I mean, it was still kind of hard to sound good, but it sounded better than I anticipated. I was going into it kind of maybe with that like suspicion that it may not be the best night, might be a struggle, one of those nights. So the fact that I kind of got over the hump, I mean, it was pretty much a cover show. I had to play, anytime I would play like an unfamiliar song or play like one of my originals, it did seem like because it's like a dinner crowd at first, and then at a certain point you're just trying to keep that dinner crowd, and there's a little pop later. But it just seemed, you know, it's a very like sports bar, like eat food, drink, and watch whatever sporting events on the television. So There was I can't remember. It's gonna drive me nuts, but uh, there was like a little reunion, college reunion, but it was like an unofficial thing there that night, and they were from the Chicago area, and they really got a kick out of me doing all my medleys and mashups and stuff, and so I really, dug in that way, I think. But I did feel like it was easy to lose the crowd that night. So it was just like, that's why I started going hard with the medleys and mashups. And then, it kind of just escalated and escalated. And it's gotten to the point with those that, like, it's funny because even on the Gerard the night before at the top hat, I was like, I see a demographic of people and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to throw these ones in at the end because I think this crowd of people will probably like it, judging by what they've already liked and their general age, and then maybe they leave before I get to that transition, so I'll just cut it short or I'll go a different direction song wise, and it's been fun to kind of be able to do that in real time, but at some points it can be a little confusing because I don't play a lot of the medleys the same twice exactly. I have general form, but sometimes it's like if it's an older crowd, like, I'll cut some of the pop kind of newer stuff out and I'll stick to those. I'll try to drive those older songs home and vice versa. And it's just kind of it's a fun way to try to get the crowd. But again, ultimately I'd rather be doing originals the whole time and have people be engaged the whole time, but it's not really the situation I'm in. So I would like that to be sometime, but anyhow, so that was, it was a fun show. I mean, it was nice to sound generally pretty good at Dr. McKay's because I feel like the last time I played there was not my best night and was not very busy. So I had people singing along and dancing, and maybe it wasn't exactly what I was hoping for, like original music wise, but it was still a fun night. And got some food there too. I did the thing where I go and set up early at I was there at like 2:30, had everything all set up, so that was a lot less stressful because at that point it was not very busy, so I could kind of take my time, because it's happened in the past where you play at 7 to 10, and you get there at 5 or 6 and it's just like super busy, and then carrying all your stuff through can be challenging. So yeah, I was pretty happy with the show ultimately. And then Sunday I was at Allianz in Dwight. So all these sets have been 3-hour sets. I guess the honky tonk happy hour is really only 2.5, but I played straight through, so no breaks or anything. But besides when I was breaking the strings, but restringing, I mean. But Allianz was a 4-hour set, and it was kind of like the cap on the weekend, and kind of a weird 5 to 9 set. I was pretty worn out, and I wasn't really sure what to expect. I played outside the 2 other times I played there, so this time they had me play inside, and they had like a little stage, which was kind of nice. It was pretty far from the bar, but I think the acoustics in there were pretty nice, and I sounded pretty good. I got a little too ballsy there for a little while. Because I felt really good on the first set, so it's like, all right, there's 4 people here, and it had been in and out of probably around 5 to 7 people. But when I went on that first break, I think I picked to go at that time because it's down to just a couple, and I was like, all right, well, I'm going to try some, newer material and just see how it goes. I'm feeling confident, and really knocked me down a couple pegs. And of course, people started showing up kind of towards the end of some of those different, weirder songs like that. I'm trying to get my newer originals kind of in the mix of the songs I can play live, so some of them aren't as polished and felt pretty sloppy on some of them. So then I really tried to bring that second set home, and then the third set I acted like it was trying to play the best kind of version of what I do, because it was a little bit busier than I expected. So I played a pretty solid 3rd-hour set, and then I was done, and pretty much it was like busy there for a bit, and then it kind of, and I'm using that term very very kindly. It was 10 people, 15 people for a Sunday night. It was like 5 to 9, so it was between 8 and 9 on a Sunday night. It was busier than I expected for that. And but it had kind of cleared out, and I was getting down to like the last like 2 or 3 songs, and then there was this nice fella in there who really liked country music, and he pretty much tipped me $40 to play as many country songs as I could. I ended up playing almost an extra hour, and it was a little rough, but it was kind of fun to get in that country headspace kind of all at once, because I don't really usually play like country song, country song, country song. But so it was fun, and he liked some more off the wall stuff, or like more underground type stuff, that not just that straightforward, which I don't really know a lot of those straightforward. I mean, I know some old country songs that are maybe more popular, but I don't know a lot of new. The only one I can kind of do now, which is one of those rough ones I'm trying to kind of suss out how to do it live, but is the Cover Me Up, which originally by Jason Isbell, which I really like that version. That was the song by him that turned me on to him. And then, Morgan Wallen, whatever, redid it, and the radio kind of friendly version. And so it's like that one's a little bit can be considered more poppy, I guess, as far as but I do like Zach Bryan, Tyler Childers, Coulter Wall, stuff like that. Some old Johnny Cash. I think it's four Johnny Cash songs. Anyway, it was just kind of cool to get in that headspace a little bit and think more in that country kind of mindset for an extended set. But I was pretty worn out, and that's really about all my voice could have taken at that point, honestly. I mean, singing low and easy, nice and easy, was probably the right choice for the last hour of the fifth hour of the 4-hour set of the 4-show weekend. But overall, pretty successful week. I do think I kind of came away with a little bit of a cold, as you can probably tell in my voice, that pretty rough. It's Thursday tonight, so of course I have 2 more or 3 shows this weekend starting tomorrow. So that always makes you a little nervous. How are you going to be able to handle the singing for 3-hour sets if you sound rough talking? But I've been pretty lucky so far, so I guess I'll just roll the dice, throw the dice, see what happens, and hope for the best. Plan for the worst, hope for the best. I think that's usually my motto. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So it looks like this weekend I'm playing this little haunted tours thing over at Duncan Manor from 5:30 to 8:30 Friday. A big mansion that they deck out for Halloween and give little tours. I'm playing in one of the barns, which hopefully the weather's okay, or they have like some heaters and stuff. Saturday I'm at Artesia Brewing, and then Sunday I'm doing Farmers Market in Leroy. So that is this coming weekend. So that's pretty much it. A little bit shorter this time. Didn't wait a month, so that's probably for the better. But anyway, as always, I appreciate anybody who takes the time to listen, and I will talk to you next time. All right, have a good one. Bye.